style and method that you have to get out to your constituents. And then after the election, you got a post-election audit. I know you guys have to do 2% of your counties. What's the best, or 2% of your precincts? How do you want to do that? What's the best way to do that? Working with the new Hart system, so we'll go over all of that information. And then after Election Day, we have our Hart Customer Support Center. That's an 800 line. It's open 24 hours a day. Any of your ongoing needs, now we're talking, was any equipment damage that we need to send back? Do we need more equipment, less equipment, all those kind of things. And then now in today's world, as soon as you finish the election that you just had, it's already time to start preparing for your next election, which is always fun. So those are the really the 4 phases of our Hart method. Any questions about that, or who Hart is in general, customers, anything like that? Okay, well, I'm going to kick it off to Sean now. He's going to go over kind of the system.
Okay, can you all hear me? Good. Okay. Well, thank you all. I want to go into the equipment portion of it now. I want to do a brief overview. I've just got a few more slides. I'm going to talk about the machines that you see up in front of you, kind of set the stage. Then we'll walk through from beginning to end how poll workers will set up the equipment, what voters will go through their process, and then closing of the polls. I'm also going to touch on some of the security features that we built into the system as well to kind of lay that groundwork so that you can know all of the different layers of security that we have going forward and how that's all going to come together. So everything, all of the devices, all of the methods of voting that we know that take place in the United States is in this one common platform design. So you're going to see, we've kind of pushed it over earlier, but this suitcase style design is small, compact, lightweight, and within that it's modular. We can make an ADA ballot marking device. We can put a scanner in there. We can go fully electronic. Every type of voting that we know of that takes place in the United States, we built this common platform. And that's really great for multiple reasons: for storage, for transport, for training. When you're training poll workers, you're teaching them essentially how to set up one device versus multiple devices, even though they're performing different functions. The setup, how you turn it on, and how you get it ready for the voting event is identical among them. So it's very easy, it's versatile, and it's trustworthy because of the security that we've built in. So these are the 3 items that we've got here today that we're going to show you. We're really going to focus on the first 2, which would be the Verity Scan, which is your precinct scanner, a digital scanner in every polling location, and the Verity Touch Writer, which we've already set up over here to your right, which is the accessible ballot marking device. The third item there is an on-demand ballot printing device that is an optional item that can be used here in your office, or it could be distributed to every polling place. That eliminates the need for pre-printed ballots, and you can print ballots on demand. We do have several counties across the country doing that, where to eliminate the waste of having to guess how many ballots you need to print, even the thought of running out, that goes away because as the voter comes in, the ballot is printed right there on demand for them. So not a required item, but an optional item and part of the Verity family that you could employ or put out to the polling location. And so to set the stage for security, we take a defense in depth approach, and it's a multi-layered approach. So if you think about, we use the descriptor of a castle. You know, there's multiple layers of defense in order to penetrate a castle. We want to follow that same approach. So all the way out from physical access, people and procedures, into the workstations and the devices, the software itself, 2-factor authentication to get to the security, and then encryption of the data at the core level. All of those things come together to make a very robust and secure system. And now I'm going to talk about some of the ways that we do that. So I'll go through a lot of these quickly, but I think this is important. Some of the things that we employ as part of that defense in depth. So the very first thing we did, and one of the benefits that you get of getting a brand new system, Again, we have a legacy system. We decided we did not want to just bolt new features and functions onto that old equipment and that old software. We built it all new from the ground up, and that allows us to use the latest security protocols. The first thing we did was very extensive threat modeling. So what are all of the vulnerabilities? What are the ways that the system could be penetrated? We ran those models and assessed those threats. With our software infrastructure, we did attack surface reduction. So we use an embedded operating system with only the components that we need. It's like building a house with fewer windows or fewer doors. There's less ways that the system can be penetrated. So attack surface reduction was one of the core philosophies there as well. Everything that is part of the Verity system, whether it's a PC or a device that's used in a polling location, is kiosked. So it's a single purpose device. You turn it on, it goes directly into our application, and you can't do any other functions on that, even with the PCs that we use. Of course, they're all non-networked, never connected to any outside network at all, never connected to the internet, anything like that. So we also use application whitelisting. This is the opposite of antivirus, essentially. So an antivirus software basically is constantly looking for all of the newest and latest threats that are out there in the online world. But we're taking the opposite approach, and we're saying we're not worried about the latest virus that's out there. We're only going to allow these certain applications to run. And if you're not on the list, then it's not even going to be able to start. Secure boot. Every time we boot these devices, they are booting against a secure hash to make sure that nothing has changed. It does mean that it takes the devices, you'll see here today, it takes them a couple of minutes to boot up, but it's checking every 1 and 0 and making sure that it matches on the partitioned area the secured and certified system that would be on file with the Secretary of State and the federal authorities at the EAC. And that hash file can be dumped at any point for validation. So you can always say, this specific device, I'm going to basically export the hash file, and I can show you that that matches what is on file and that it is the exact certified, ready to go version. Role-based access and control and password management. I'm going to skip over two-factor for a second. Those things kind of go hand in hand. We have very specific permission levels and user levels in all of our software. So you can have different people who do different tasks. They've got different logins and different permissions levels there. And then two-factor authentication is really big. We use what we call the Verity key. For two-factor authentication, it's something you have and then something you know, which would be the PIN or the password. And this key is needed for critical functions like loading a new election onto the device, tabulating the first drive that comes back from the polling locations, things like that, locking down an election. All of that requires the key and that you're a certified known user who knows the password. All of our systems have audit logs. It's very robust, plain language audit logging that time and date stamps everything, and it's a human readable line item of the action that took place. So it's never going to say, you know, on January 16th at 8 a.m., you know, application 46B82 was executed, and you need to figure out what that is. It's just going to be very clear, time and date stamp, this user, and the action that they did, created a new election, tabulated a feature, things like that. Port obfuscation is actually pretty cool. You notice that we have a commercial off-the-shelf component to our system here, which is the printer that prints the full marked ballot. We obviously need to communicate with that printer, but we don't use a standard wire. So you can come up and see this when we do hands-on, that we have not only physically altered the connector, but we're also using non-standard communication and wiring protocols. So some people might say, well, there's a USB port on the back of that machine, and that's a vulnerability. True, it is a USB port, but because of the non-standard wiring and the proprietary cable that we use, you can't plug in any, you know, jump drive and it's going to recognize it. It just simply will not recognize it. The pathway isn't there for that type of communication. We've got two types of encryption. Data in motion is encrypted, and then data at rest is encrypted but also transparent. So we encrypt all of our cast vote record data through digital signatures. Those digital signatures allow the data to be viewed but not altered or deleted or changed in any way. So if you think about people passing messages during wartime, for example, if you're passing a message to your ally, if it gets intercepted in the middle, you don't want the message to be readable. It needs to be, secret. And that's the kind of standard encryption way. What we do is we basically encrypt the whole package, but allow it to be viewable. We believe that that's important for transparency and to the philosophy of software independence. So someone could take our cast vote record data and be able to view it, be able to do some sort of manual tabulation of it to compare to our software, but if they change any single bit or byte, any single 1 or 0, it's going to fall over and not be able to be accepted into our tabulation software. So software independence and transparency was a big component of us creating it in that fashion. And then tamper evidence and non-repudiation, of course, your seals. All of our systems have locks and seals, and we'll talk about that. And all of these things kind of go into the philosophy of non-repudiation. All of these things coming together mean that you can't, say that I don't trust the results that come back. That was a lot of stuff. I'm sorry if I got too in the weeds there, but I think it's important. And are there any questions about any of these items from a security standpoint? Good, I've just pounded it all on you, so yeah, but we take a lot of steps. There's a lot of variables that go into the security of the system. Okay, finally we'll get into the demonstration aspect. So I'm going to go ahead and set up part of the polling place and show you all of the components. We'll walk through what a poll worker needs to do. We'll walk through how the voter will vote using the hand-marked paper ballot, but then also the voters that need the accessible interface to mark their ballot.